It is great to be back after the open week, our first show in 14 days. Glad to be with you as we prepare for our road game. Bulls heading to Memphis to play the Memphis Tigers Saturday afternoon in a 12 noon game at the Liberty Bowl. Coach Jeff Scott joins us, Coach, before the break. And I probably shouldn't say break because the players and coaches have been working hard throughout the open week. But before this time away from playing, you talked about using it as an opportunity to reevaluate a little bit, to take stock of where this program is. What conclusions did you come from? What are your thoughts as the Bulls prepare to take the field again?
Yeah, well, obviously it was really the first time that we could slow down and have a week to really reevaluate ourselves. And, we've got a good sample size of 6 games, and really trying to look at the things that we need to improve. I think that the biggest things offensively that really stand out is the turnovers. I mean, I really think the last 3 or 4 games we have moved the ball well at times, but really not only turning the ball over, but costly turnovers. When you're in the red zone and having an opportunity to go in to score. So I think offensively the turnovers, and then also red zone offense. We've had the last 2 games several opportunities there inside the 10-yard line and not coming away with points, whether it's turnovers or not getting it done, getting in the end zone, whatever the case may be. Those are really the biggest focus points for us during the open week on offense. I think defensively, really is getting off the field on third down. A lot of that has to do with not getting a great pass rush on third and long, and I think our secondary has done well at times, but when the quarterback has all day to sit back there, it makes it very difficult to cover the receivers in this league for 4, 5, and 6 seconds. So I think trying to get creative to find some ways to create a pass rush has been something that we've looked at, and then also being able to stop the run in some short yardage situations again that goes back to third down. So that's really been the biggest focus for us on the football field, and then it's also a point to kind of reevaluate where we are with our season. We still have 4 big games ahead of us, great opportunities. Obviously, not very happy or satisfied with our record after 6 games, but for us, it's all about what's next, and we've got several great opportunities, and one of those starting off this weekend at Memphis.
Coach, obviously, we talk a lot about football, right? But have you guys had the opportunity to adjust any processes, policies, or procedures that relate to you guys efficiently navigating COVID 19, keeping guys safe, travel? Have you taken a second look at anything, and did you make any really dramatic changes?
Yeah, I think for the most part we've done pretty well this last month with COVID. And obviously, we're coming off an open week where guys had an opportunity to go home, so we'll see what this week entails there. I think the biggest thing, that's difficult is how you practice. And I think after the game against Tulsa Friday night, we decided during this open week that we were going to do more live tackling. And again, due to COVID, due to our numbers, said it many times, we're out there and we just don't have a lot of bodies. And so I think as a coach, you're trying to protect the guys you do have and go against the scout team and do the best you can and have enough guys to be able to go out there and play on Saturdays. But, I just felt like this open week was an opportunity. We went full pads 3 days, during this prep so far and really just kind of get back to the basics and, going good on good, offensive line, defensive line. That's probably been the biggest change this week and really the biggest challenge just because of the lack of depth. One injury really has a bigger impact this year than maybe it would in normal years where you have more depth on your line.
Coach, you've talked a lot this year about how pleased you have been with the attitude of this team and the buy in. But Friday night against Tulsa, you had a situation that turned into an opportunity for you to further establish what you expect from this program now and in the future. Can you talk a little bit about that and how a situation like that can help shape the progress of this program?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I got here, the very first day that I met with our team, I let our guys know, hey, there's a new standard of how we do what we do. And it's a privilege for every coach and for every player to be on this team. No one has a right to be a part of this football team. It truly is a privilege. And so with that, there's an extra level of accountability. There's an extra level of responsibility to, number one, represent yourself, represent this football team, represent our university in a first-class manner. And if we ever don't represent this program and university in a first-class manner, then you jeopardize your opportunity here. And obviously this is year one. There's been a lot of teaching and learning. And I do feel that probably 90% of our guys have truly bought in and understand the standard and have been working towards that. But any time that you come in as a new coach and, there's going to be those learning opportunities. And unfortunately, the frustration maybe started to show a little bit Friday versus Tulsa. And I just didn't like the response, some things that I saw on the sidelines and talking back to coaches and just the way that one of our young men decided to respond. And so I brought him in Monday morning to visit with him and let him know that was unacceptable and try to listen a little bit. And it became very clear about 90 seconds into the conversation that we were not going to be on the same page. And so, that's difficult as a coach to release one of your players, especially a 2-year starter. But it's also a statement to the rest of your players that, hey, the standard is the standard for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a starter. It doesn't matter if you're on the scout team. There is a right way to handle things and respond to things, and there's a wrong way. And if you respond the wrong way, then, hey, let's come back. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can learn from it and move forward. And that was really my hope going into the meeting Monday morning. But unfortunately, it did not go that way.
Coach, there's a ton of guys that also play in the defensive secondary who've come out and played well. What guys should we expect to see now having one of your guys departed?
Yeah, well, I think because of COVID this year and some of the other injuries, we've already had a lot of guys playing back there. But a guy that really stands out to me is Mekhi LaPointe. He's a guy coming off of an injury a year ago and really wasn't sure what he would be able to do this year, how he'd be able to help us. And really, from very early in the year, he's just a guy that, as you know, Sam, sometimes there's guys that just find the football finds them, right? And he's one of those guys that always shows up around the ball and, has great instincts. And I think he's gaining more confidence in himself and what he's doing, understanding the defense and where he needs to be. Also, a guy like Bentley Sanders has been out for several weeks and finally got back this past Friday after missing several games due to some COVID-related things. So I think those are two guys. And then I would also bring up Chris Townsel. He's a true freshman that I think is very talented and works extremely hard. He's made some nice plays. He had a nice interception against Cincinnati. He's kind of been banged up a little bit with a hamstring, but hopefully he'll be back to full speed and be able to help us here this week.
Well, the open week is behind us. We have Saturday football, which means normally we'd be on what we would consider a regular schedule, but you're going to do something a little bit different tomorrow in not practicing, not doing any media, giving staff and players a chance to go out and vote. And I know no coaching staff changes up the schedule on game week lightly. Tell us a little bit, if you would, please, about the importance of the players and the staff getting out to vote and what it means to this organization.
Absolutely. Tomorrow is a very big day. And, really from all the way back in the, before the season when we were dealing with some of the social justice things that were going on and our team met. And one of the things that our leadership decided is, we wanted to educate all of our players on how to register to vote and the importance of voting and how that's a way for us to create change to things that maybe we don't like that are currently going on. And, I give Michael Kelly, our director of athletics, a lot of credit. I mean, he and our leadership here within the athletic department at South Florida decided that we were going to, take election day off for the players and really give the players no mandatory football meetings or practice, really to make an emphasis for them to go out and vote. And it wasn't very long after that the NCAA also came out and made the same decision. So, yes, we changed how we practice. We did our typical Monday practice we did on Sunday. We did our typical Tuesday practice today, and the players will have tomorrow off completely from all football-related activities to really give them an opportunity to go vote. And again, we talk about football as there's a lot of life lessons that you learn playing football, being a part of a team. And, this is one of those times for our players to see how important it is to go out and vote and to participate. And hopefully this will be a lesson they learn that they can, continue to take pride in voting for the rest of their life whenever they finish here.
Coach, you spoke about the emphasis on educating guys and helping them understand not only the importance but how to vote. Can you delve into some of the tactics that you guys used as a team to actually get guys the resources and information they need to go out and make an informed vote?
Yes, we had some of our leadership here, Marquita Armstead, who is one of our assistant athletic directors and senior woman administrator, did a really good job and got us connected with some of the people here in Hillsborough County that could come on, and they did some meetings with our athletes from all different sports on really informing them how to register. And then we also brought some people into our building to give our student athletes an opportunity to come up here and physically get on the computers and to register. And then we also just talk to our players, whether it's in position meetings or in team meetings, just about the importance. But at the end of the day, it's about educating them and informing them of how to do this. Many of our players thought that you could maybe just show up on election day and go vote somewhere, and understanding that you have to register beforehand and the things that are required to do that. I know many of our players will be voting tomorrow for the very first time, and so I think that's a great opportunity and a great moment for them, and hopefully something that they'll continue to do.
All right, we're going to go to break. Wide receivers later in the show. Coach Xavier Dye, Devontrez Odoms Dukes as well will join us. Bulls at Memphis this weekend. More with Coach Scott after this on the USF Football Radio Network, presented by Marathon. Welcome back. The Bulls at Memphis, the Liberty Bowl this weekend. It's a 12 noon kickoff. Television is ESPN Plus for this one. Our coverage begins at 10 a.m. for the Bulls and the Tigers. Coach, earlier in the show you talked about a little bit more emphasis on live tackling during practice this week. This is one of those rare times when you have extra time to prepare for an opponent. What have been the other focal points of practice this week?
Well, getting ready for Memphis, they're very explosive in their passing game. I mean, I think this, again, it feels like every week we're playing an experienced quarterback. Their quarterback is, I think he's thrown for over 9,000 yards now at Memphis in 2.5 years, 77 touchdowns, redshirt senior. So he knows where to go with the ball. I think this year he's got 17 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So very talented quarterback. He's got a lot of pieces around him that are very explosive. It's not just one receiver. They've got guys all over the place that can really, go 90 yards at any time. So I think for us, understanding, everybody's responsibility and the different coverages that we have, because this is one of those quarterbacks that if he sees a busted coverage or somebody open, he can get the ball there immediately. So that's been a big focus for us defensively, is trying to find ways to change up coverages and maybe try to distract the quarterback a little bit and keep him off rhythm. And then I think for us, offensively, like we've been talking about, it's protecting the ball. And, our execution at times has been really good. We've moved the ball and made some progress this year, I feel like, as the year has gone on moving the football. But, again, we've just had some very costly turnovers. Maybe how we're carrying the ball is not to our standard. And so I think that's been a huge emphasis along with the execution that it's going to take to score a bunch of points against Memphis.
Coach, you talked about Memphis's quarterback and his productivity. Have you made any progress? I know we've seen 3 different guys this past week, and we thought we were at a place where we at least had a guy decided on. And can you kind of go back to the previous game and kind of what led to you playing other guys, and what should we expect for this weekend?
Yeah, we're still we're back at ground zero, unfortunately. And that's a big thing. If you're still going through quarterbacks in games 7, that's not a good thing, right? You don't even have to look at the record if that's the case. And unfortunately, that's where we are, and that's something as coaches that we've got to get corrected. This season and in the future. The biggest thing last week, I just felt like through 5 series, I just didn't feel like we had a lot of energy on the offensive side of the ball. And sometimes as a coach, when you're just kind of watching the offense go through the motions and not have energy, one of the things you do, especially if you don't have an established guy that you feel 100% that is your starter and can run with it, is really to change quarterbacks. That's one thing Steve Spurrier would do all the time. If he didn't like the energy on offense and didn't like the productivity, he would not be afraid to put another guy in there. And, I felt like we got a spark when we did that. I felt like Noah came in and really, Noah has practiced very, very well. And Noah has a lot of energy, great leadership, vocal, kind of moving the guys, getting them going. And felt like we moved the ball. And, ultimately just really disappointed on, the drive right there before half. We're getting ready to go in and, fumble the ball on the 5-yard line. And if you look at that, if we get that score and then, come out and hold them like we did in the third quarter, go down to score like we did in the first drive of the third quarter, then it's a 1-point ball game. It's a completely different game, but it's all about that. And so, at halftime, even though I felt like Noah played well, I wanted to give Cade an opportunity just because of, Noah putting the ball on the ground. And thought Cade did a really good job with his one drive. He moved the ball all the way down for an opportunity for us to go, and we ended up scoring on that drive. And unfortunately for Cade and for us, he got hurt and got banged up. And so not sure that he'll be back this week. But, really we're day-to-day at the quarterback position, unfortunately. My goal is that the next year and the years to come that we're not in this position again. But this is where we find ourselves. I think Trey Marsh, a true freshman, just got back to practicing this week. He's another guy that will get opportunity. And until we get the consistent play that is needed to win at this level and in this league, then, we're going to continue to move through those guys. And hopefully, all of those guys, both Jordan and Noah, have shown signs to really move the offense. But, the turnovers have just been, really, really difficult to overcome. And when you have too many other guys that are doing really good things and you just turn the ball over so easily, it's very frustrating for us. And so, you also do it to try to get some guys' attention sometimes, that, hey, we got to be better than where we are. And, what I know about Jordan and I know about Noah, they're both competitors. They've worked extremely hard this week in practice, and we'll see how they finish up to see who goes out there first on Saturday.
Is there a safe margin for a quarterback? I'm sorry. Is there a margin for a quarterback to operate in error?
Yeah.
And allow me to elaborate on this, because from a psychological standpoint, obviously a college player doesn't necessarily have the maturity as a pro player does. So sometimes they can't necessarily rebound from a mistake. But at what point can a guy safely make his mistakes and still expect to be the starter?
Yeah, I think once you establish that you are the guy, then you kind of get that grace. But until then, it's just an open competition. And I don't feel like we've had any of the guys truly just establish themselves as a no-brainer. I think Jordan, coming off the Temple game, had done some really good things, but, we had 3 costly turnovers. And, we decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. He came out and practiced well the next week and wanted to see him go out there and do well against Tulsa. And, just the first 5 drives, we just did not move the ball well enough. But I think you earned that, to be honest. I think how and that's the other thing. We as coaches, obviously, we see every single throw. We chart every single throw in practice. And so it's all kind of combined. It's not just what we see on the field on game day. It's kind of a combination of everything. And unfortunately, we've been consistently inconsistent at that position, and that's where we got to improve.
Coach, we're going to talk about wide receivers later in the show, and I want to ask you that because that position is kind of your passion from earlier in your coaching career. You brought in Xavier Dye to work with the receivers, Clemson connection there, and you've got some good young talent at the wide receiver. What is your perception of that unit this year?
Yeah, I think I've seen good improvement from where we were at the beginning, and Coach Dye has done a really good job with that group. He works them extremely hard in practice, a lot of drill work, and again, one of the groups that it's difficult on is when you're switching quarterbacks is that wide receiver group, right? Because each quarterback has their own timing and all those type of things, and so it is difficult. And really, what I've tried to challenge them is, hey, you guys worry about improving and worry about what you're doing, be where you're supposed to be, and then when you're there, make the plays. One thing I would say that I'm pleased with overall is we've had very few drops when we have had opportunities to go catch the ball, and there's been some good moments in some of these games where we have been able to throw the ball. I feel like the guys have caught the ball well. I think a big point of emphasis for us is, again, against the man coverage on the outside, being able to win some of those one-on-one matchups and have confidence in our guys down the field in the one-on-one matchups. And so that's been a big area that our group has really been working on. But, I think that's a young group of guys that take pride in how they play. And, I'm expecting big things from them here these last 4 games.
Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about the defensive line. There's no secret that there's more needed talent, right, on the defensive line from a pass rushing standpoint. But in my mind, from a logical standpoint, the guys that aren't pass rushing good should at least be able to play the run well. Are guys not playing the run well? Are guys not fitting gaps? Where is the disconnect on the lack? We discussed the lack of productivity on the pass rushing standpoint, but now we're at a place where the defense is just not stopping the run well. Where is the disconnect there? Does it line the defensive line? Does it line the scheme? Does it line the linebackers?
Yeah, it's all of those things combined, right? As you know, it's defense is an assignment driven side of the ball. In other words, everybody has where they're supposed to be, and if a guy goes the wrong way, then there's somebody that's out of their gap. And with us, we play a 3-man front, and so it puts a lot of strain on the linebackers and safeties to come down and fill. And there's been times where our guys up front have done a good job of getting off blocks and making plays, but overall, we just have not been consistent enough. And we've got to continue to play lower, play with our hands, play with better technique. I think sometimes our guys get out of position, they're a little bit too high, and offensive line gets out of is able to get underneath them and move them. But it hasn't been just on the defensive line. There's been times where maybe the defensive line is doing their job and forcing it out to the C gap, and then maybe the linebacker or safety is not where they need to be able to make the play. And so I think for us, it's about everybody doing their job and doing it better than what we've done before.
Coach, thanks. Good luck in Memphis.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Head coach Jeff Scott, stay with us. We're going to talk with Xavier Dye, Bulls receivers coach, when we continue. First of 2 on the road coming up. Bulls in Memphis with a 12 noon start on Saturday. Back after this on the USF Football Network, presented by Marathon. Welcome back. Bulls at Memphis this week, then a trip to Houston, and 2 big games at home to finish the regular season. Navy followed by UCF. There will be fans at both of those games. Get your tickets at 1-800-GO-BULLS or online at usfbullstix.com for Navy, and then the war on I-4 against UCF later in the season. We continue the show with wide receivers coach Xavier Dye. Coach, thanks for taking time.
Yes, sir.
You are part of the Clemson connection, as we talked about here. You have known Coach Scott for a while, in your first year now at USF. Tell us a little bit about the things that took place for you to wind up here with the Bulls.
Yeah, so of course I was at Clemson with Coach Scott in 2017 and 18. Coach Sweeney gave me an opportunity to be a grad assistant, and I worked directly under Coach Scott as the receivers GA and I pretty much learned everything from him, going through the whole process. I was only at Clemson for 2 seasons. It's about a year and a half before I got the job at West Virginia as the receiver coach there, and then I was only there for 10 months. Coach Scott gets the job here, and I was one of his first calls to get me down here to come help join and be a part of the things that he's going to build here. So it's been a fun and challenging transition, but we got brighter days ahead, and I'm looking forward to the things that he's going to implement and the way we're going to take this program to the next level.
Xavier, since your freshman year at Clemson up until your last year coaching at Clemson, you've seen a ton of talent come through at the receiver position.
Yes, sir.
Right, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to highlight some of the guys that you're coaching now. If you had to build an ideal prototype receiver using the skill set of the guys that you have on this roster, what would you use from I already know who you're going to go with from a size standpoint, but speed, hands, and just talk about your guys.
Yeah, so we got a unique group. You got some guys that are bigger guys, some are fast, some that are a little bit more twitchy than other guys, some guys that can get in and out of breaks like you want them to, catching the ball well and stuff like that. But, we, of course, like the bigger guys with size and that can run and catch the ball, high point the ball and stuff like that. But you also got to be able to get in and out of breaks and stuff. And those are things that you really look for. But the first thing that I look for in a receiver is a guy that loves football. You got to have somebody that wants it. It's hard to coach guys that are, they're kind of in and out, but you want the guys that they are ate up with football. And, of course, the academic part of it as well, and the guys that want to get the education. But, in my group, we got a couple guys that are bigger guys, like the Trey Dukes and St. Felix. That's what you look for in the bigger guys, where they have the size, being able to go up for the football and stuff like that. And then you got the next group with like the Weaver. He's kind of in between those guys. He's lighter, but he's a little bit taller guy. But man, you talking about his maneuverability is ridiculous. Like this guy can be really good. With the things that he has, just very natural. He's probably the most natural guy that we have. And all we're trying to do is just, mold him into like an elite player because you can see it in him. Guys like OD and Bryce, our slot receivers, they're very multiple in things that they can do. You see us giving OD like those sweeps and stuff, and Bryce, and they're just some war daddies in the inside. So those two guys are guys that they're a good combination. Both of them a little different, but they give you a lot of different things, and we try to use them to the best of our ability to things that they can do. And then you got guys like T. Horn, Sean Atkins. He's one of our walk-on guys. But these guys they're coming along and they're doing really good things for us. We're still developing them. But they got speed, quickness, can get in and out of breaks, like I said. And you got guys like Sincere. He's a tall or slender guy, but he's the type that he's got good speed, good hands, and can go up and high point the ball as well. But those are guys, him and Weaver, like guys we got to get stronger and bigger for the things that we want to do with those guys and to help them be able to perform at a high level. I'm sure I missed some. Latrell, he's one of our faster guys on the team. A little shorter stature, but he can go. He got some good speed to him and catch the ball really well. We got a good mixture of guys. Just hard trying to find ways to get everybody the ball. So it's a fun group to coach. But like I said, we're still developing and still trying to build that chemistry and stuff like that. But we're gonna be okay.
Coach, we talked about this a little earlier in the show with Coach Scott. This year, unfortunately, is an unsettled quarterback situation.
Yeah.
And it affects the wide receivers, obviously, in the game. I'm sure it does in practice, too, because I would think the quarterback reps are not the same as they would be if there was one dominant quarterback.
Right.
How difficult is it for the wide receiver group? How do you coach them up when they have to go and work with different guys?
Yeah, I mean it's tough, but my message to them is like, whenever that ball comes our way, we got to make him look good, whoever it is back there. So no matter who's playing, like it's our job to catch the football, get to it as best we can, and make the play. And I mean, I can't control what's going on in that room, but all I control is my guys and how they respond and how they're producing on the field. But it's a little difficult. But like I said, I try to give them the worst situations in practice, even in individual, whatever the case may be. But we have to be ready when our number's called. There's nothing we can do about that stuff. We just have to go out there and execute what's called and do it to the best of our ability. So we can't worry about who's back there and all that stuff. And then you start worrying about that, then there's some balls on the ground. It's like, well, heck, the receiver's not doing their job too. So we have to do our part. And whoever's back there, we have to make them look good. So that's our job.
Coach, you obviously it's your job to coach the guys, and you're responsible for their progress, not only as players but as young men as well.
Right.
And then there's the competition inside the meeting room between players that helps those guys progress too. What players on defense have you grown a liking for, or maybe dislike because of their ability to challenge your guys in practice?
Yeah, I mean,
on defense, I'm sorry.
Right. I like all the guys because we need to be challenged ourselves. We need to make it hard as heck in practice for us, getting off the line of scrimmage, whatever the case may be, and that's going to get us better. But guys like KJ and Mike, it's a battle every day, and it should be. We win some, we lose some, but we come back. That's how we get each other better day in and day out, and that's why I like us doing the one-on-ones, the times that we get them. Like, that's how you get better. It's competition every time. It's you versus me. If you're going to line up in front of me, it's my job to whoop you. Period. They end. And I think they do a good job. And, those safeties that we have, like Bentley and Chris Townsel, like Mikhail Lapointe, those guys are really good players, But, like, we got to bring it every day. There's no days off. That's what I like about it. These guys, you got to show up. And if you don't, then you'll get exposed. And it's our job to show up. And if we're not, then it's my job to get on to them. And, hey, we got to be better than this, because we got to be ready, game ready.
Coach, as you hit the recruiting trail, what are the attributes of wide receivers you want to bring into this program that are going to excel in this offense?
Yeah, it's some of the stuff I said earlier. Basically, the first thing I look for, the guy that loves football, and then a guy that fits what we want, a guy that fits the culture that we're trying to bring in, and the things that I'm looking for in a receiver. If you're a bigger guy, you might not be as fast as some of those smaller guys. You better be able to catch the ball really well, get in and out of breaks. But if you're a smaller guy, you got to be able to run. Like, we look for guys with good speed, good hands, maneuverability, things of that nature. But the main thing, like I said, you got to have guys that love it. Like, you can coach those guys. If you love football, I can coach you hard, and we'll be able to win a lot with those type of guys.
Coach, how awesome is it for you to be in this city of Tampa Bay? I know you're a native of the Carolinas, but you're down here in Florida. You got an opportunity another opportunity to put your career create a great foundation for your coaching career as a young coach. How special is this? What has it been like being here in the city of Tampa?
Yeah, I love the city of Tampa. I told my fiance when I got this job, I was like, this is like the ideal situation. You got great weather, great people. It's a great location, great recruiting area. I mean, this is what you want. A lot of these other schools come to Tampa or the local areas to recruit this area. So, I mean, we in a great spot for recruiting and just building relationships. I mean, this place is special. I enjoy this area. I mean, it's always something to do. And you're in Tampa. I mean, you can't beat the weather. Coming out of Morgantown, West Virginia. Oh man. It was pretty cold up there, but I enjoyed my time there. But Tampa is a great place. So.
Coach, we're glad to have you here. Have a great trip to Memphis. Come back with a W.
Thank you so much. That's the plan.
Wide receivers coach Xavier Dye, one of his best guys, Devontrez Odoms Dukes, coming up next on the USF Football Radio Network, presented by Marathon. Bulls and the Memphis Tigers. It is at the Liberty Bowl, and our radio coverage begins at 10 o'clock on Saturday, kickoff at noon. TV is ESPN Plus for this American Athletic Conference game. And lined up at wide receiver in Memphis on Saturday, Devontrez Odoms Dukes. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate the time.
I appreciate it for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
You were at a crossroads in your USF career. Not sure we would be sitting here in 2020 doing a show like this. Tell us a little bit about what led you back and what has led you to a productive season this year.
Well, the first person I can thank is God. I did a whole lot of praying. Days where I didn't feel like coming back. I didn't think I would come back. I just kept praying each night. Pray in the morning before I did anything, and I also want to thank my family as well. My dad and my mom, they really played a big part in me, moving forward or coming back. So if I say those two are the main factors in me deciding on wanting to go somewhere else.
I want to ask you, what a high school football coach once told me: the game of football is not life and death, but it teaches you how to deal with life and death, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about the game of football has refined you and just helped you grow as a man?
Well, it's a lot of things. I'll probably say that I didn't really learn from the game of football. I'll probably say the people that I've met that involved the game of football. Just dealing with different players each and every day. I try to pick something up off everybody. Being freshman year, I probably say we had a lot of leaders on that 2016, 2017 team. So Dietrich Nichols, I looked at his leadership. I looked at Ronnie Hoggins. I looked at Quez. I looked at Q. So they all did different things, great that I wanted to try to pick up on. So Quez, he accountable. He held everybody accountable in that room. Dietrich, he led by example. He wasn't really the one to talk a lot. So now, me going through my fifth year now, I kind of want to, take all those things and just put it into this year and to next year as well.
Midway through your USF career, you changed your name
Mm-hmm.
on your jersey.
Yes, sir.
To honor your family.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, everybody knows my name was Devontrez Dukes at first, but the Dukes came from my mom's side of the family because they weren't together at the time. And then my dad eventually won custody of me when I was 7 or 8. So I moved in with him, and I've been with him ever since. And I always wanted to change my name because I felt like, that's the man that raised me. I want to, like you said, honor that side of the family as well. And I felt like, a son should have his dad's last name. So that's what I've been trying to do for a really long time. And I think last summer I was able to do it. I pulled my stepmom off to the side, and I was like, hey, I really want to do this. Whatever needs to be done, let's do it. And my mom, she was there to help me through everything. And then that's when I was like, okay, I want to surprise him. The first game of the season, because I never told him about it. I told him in high school I wanted to do it, and we just never really got around to it because he was always getting deployed and stuff. So I really found the opportunity last summer to change it and surprise him. And he wanted to shed a tear apparently, but he wouldn't let it come out. But he was really happy though. He was really happy.
Man, it's really special. I see that in 2020 you were on the Athletic Spring Honor Roll, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk about the student part of Devontrez, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot about football on this show, but I want to know about what are your aspirations when it's time to actually put the cleats up.
I got you. Well, I felt like since I was young, I always had an idea of what I wanted to do. After I'm done with football and everything, more than likely I want to be a sports broadcaster. I want to go into something that deals with sports. Because sports has been a big part of my life. Growing up, my whole life it kept me out of trouble. It made sure I stayed up with my grades, because if I didn't have my grades right, my dad would pull me out of football, pull me out of basketball, baseball, anything that I was doing. So I want to be a sports broadcaster. That's why I did the Selman Institute mentoring program this past spring. And I was able to meet with Miss Catherine Smith and, just walk around with her, go down to the station in St. Pete. And I was able to just see exactly what she does day in and day out. And that really, painted the picture pretty clear for me of what I wanted to do once I'm done with football.
Bay-Made guy from right up the road, literally. What was it like in the decision-making process coming out of high school and staying home? Easy decision, tough decision?
Mm, I want to say it's an easy decision, but it's really tough for a 17, 18-year-old kid to, make that decision, not just for, short term, but long term as well. My original plans, honestly, was not to come to USF. I always thought I was gonna go, elsewhere, do my own thing. But once Coach T, was telling me, hey, we got a good thing going. I actually had a good friend, Chris Oladokin, that was a quarterback here. We were talking each and every week, and I felt like I had a real good connection here in Tampa, especially with Mike Camp. We'd known each other since 10th grade going into 11th. KJ, who has Jacob Mathis. So, like, just those guys, I felt like we really had, like, a connection here, even though Jacob and KJ went elsewhere. But I just felt like Tampa had, like, a hold on me almost. I just love the city part because coming from Fayetteville, North Carolina is nothing like this at all. So I was like, Tampa, it's a great city. My family's 10 minutes down the road. So why not just stay here and build something here?
What do you want to tell fans about your experience as a player and some of the experiences that your teammates are having with this season? Obviously, you guys are not where you want to be from a wins and losses standpoint, but I'm sure there's a lot of growth and development happening amongst you guys
Yes, sir.
in the locker room that the fans might not be able to see.
The main thing I want to tell fans is just believe in us. Right now, like you said, it doesn't look as pretty. We didn't expect us to do what we're doing now, not by a long shot, but I just want fans to know that just believe in us. Right now doesn't look too pretty, but it's coming. That's the main reasons why I believe in Coach Scott. I believe in Coach Dye. I believe in offense coordinator Coach Weiss. I believe in all those things that they're telling us, and I see it. I just see it in the players. Where we started off to where we are now. It might not show in the field, but it's showing up in other places like the classroom. Our team GPA has been the best that it's been so far.
Wow.
And Coach Scott, he said it. So like I said, it's not showing up on the field right now. I just want fans to just stay with us, believe in us. The ones that are true to us. Because it's coming. Our time is coming. It's going to take some time, but it's coming.
3 head coaches for you, and all the associated coordinators and position coaches. How have you changed throughout this process at USF? How are you different, or are you different from the guy who came here as a freshman?
I'm 10 times different. Just like I said, coming in as a young dude, I didn't really know how to handle, my time wisely. I think that's one of the things that I've learned growing up, how to manage my time, priorities, getting my priorities situated, and dealing with coaches is just adapting. I feel like that's one of the main things that I had to learn, on the fly, because position changes. You never know what could happen. I played safety at one point. So you just got to be able to adapt and roll with the punches. Whatever comes your way, you just got to handle it.
Not to single any guys out, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to single a guy out, right?
Okay.
It was times where in my playing careers, whether it was professional or amateur in college, where there were guys that I looked at and I'm like, you know what, this guy is special. He might not get the most recognition. His name might not be heard all the time, but I just had respect for certain guys, right? Who's the guy on the team or a few guys that you're looking at and you're like, you know what, I really respect this guy because of how he comes to work every day? The opportunity shot one of your guys out now. Maybe I'm helping you get some free dinner or something like that.
I got a lot of guys. Oh man, I'll probably say the first person that comes to my mind that just works every single day, I'll probably say Darian Grant, our number 45, our DN.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll probably say him. He comes in like he's real cool, real mellow. I'm thinking about names now.
I'm gonna
But
stop you for a second. One of the reasons why it's so important to hear that, and who knows, he might not hear this show or whatever the case may be, but the defensive line is not playing tremendously well this year. So for a guy to hear that, and for a guy to see a receiver say that about him, I guarantee you that means a lot to that guy if he was to hear the show.
yeah, like I said, all our guys, they come in and work, but that's just one of the people that, you know, he's a little to himself, but like when he talks, you know, you listen. You know, he comes in, he works, and he's been, you know, busting his butt fall camp to now. But like I said, we have a lot of guys that come in and just work, and I think that when Coach Scott came in, that's just his mindset that he instilled in us now. Just come in and work. So there's a lot of people that come to mind, but that's just the one guy that stands out to me.
Devontrez, this was a great visit with you. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Devontrez Odom's Dukes on the field in Memphis this Saturday as the Bulls take on the Tigers. Stay with us. Sam and I back to wrap it up after this on the USF Football Radio Network presented by Marathon. Welcome back, Sam. The Bulls are heading into the home stretch of this season. 4 games left, 2 home, 2 road, all conference, and a tough one this Saturday. Memphis got after it pretty good, and Cincinnati got them pretty good last week, but this Memphis team is very talented, very dangerous, 3-2 on the season. This will be a big test.
I think it'll be a big test. I think it'll be a tremendous opportunity for USF as well. One of the special things about a bye week in football is you get an opportunity to decompress, but you refine a lot of the areas that need to be refined about your team. And Coach Scott, he talked about it. He talked about their ability to address tackling, their ability to address some of the character issues, and you saw a guy depart. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. There are some things that Memphis does not do well that USF will have the opportunity to exploit. I think it is a bit concerning that USF still doesn't have a guy at quarterback who they can say, this is our guy, and we won't get away from this guy. But at the end of the day, I'm confident that Coach Scott and his staff will continue to grow regardless of that.
12 noon start for USF and Memphis on Saturday. Don't forget, you can get your tickets for the big 2 games that will wind up the regular season at home, Navy and UCF coming up later in the month. Thanks for joining us. Back next week with another edition of the show on the USF Football Radio Network presented by Marathon.